All right, Zoom people, can you hear us now?
Yes,
Thumbs
now
up.
I hear you. Yep.
All
Awesome,
right.
thank you.
Yes, sound is coming through. Thank you.
Live and well on a Monday. How's everybody doing? Rock and roll. So everybody likes talking data on a Monday, right? Nothing gets me going like the numbers. So I kind of want to go over kind of what the impetus for this class was. Was sitting through legal the other day. Who was in legal with lawyers when they did it a couple weeks ago? Do you remember what they said about geographic proficiency? Yeah, so let me read here. Legislation passed by the 86th Texas legislature made clear that license holders must be knowledgeable about local market issues and geographic area in which they work and the characteristics involved in the specific type of property being sold or leased. The Texas Real Estate Commission made corresponding changes to Section 535.2 broker responsibility earlier this year, which requires brokers to ensure their sponsored agents have geographic competence. Most experienced agents understand this concept, and by adding this clarification to the law, the 86th Texas legislature is emphasizing how important the obligation is for license holders. The legislation also prompted the revision of TREC Rule 53.3, competency. According to the rule, license holders must be informed on the local market issues and conditions affecting real estate in geographic area where a license holder provides a service to a client. And so, a little bit more in depth, be informed on national, state, and local issues and developments in the real estate industry, exercise judgment and skill and performance of brokerage activities, and be educated in the characteristics involved in the specific type of real estate being brokered for others. How do you become competent? First, keep in mind that real estate is a three-dimensional product. You can rely on only aerial photographs and maps to give you boots on the ground observations required to competently advise your client and gain a professional understanding of the marketplace. So the goal of this class isn't necessarily to dive too deep in the numbers. It's really to make sure we as agents know what resources we have available to us. We have tons of great information. Part of your dues in your MLS and your association dues pay for the Texas Real Estate Institution down at Texas A&M. They pay for the National Association of Realtors. At CCAR, they run the CCAR Pulse. Who all is aware of where to go find that Pulse report? Good deal. So there's at the very least, we're going to figure out where to do that. We're going to go over who can today, if I ask you how many buyers in Plano in the last 30 days showed a home between 3 and 350, who can find that information? One hand. Would that be useful? You know, if I'm trying to price a home and we're looking at the comps come out to 345, but I see that all the buyers are actually looking 350 to 375, that may factor into how I'm going to go about pricing that home. So I just wanted, the goal of today isn't necessarily, like I said, to dive into the data, but really find where all these sources are. And so we're going to kind of just go through some of the more popular ways you have access to some really, really good data, kind of show you what it will pull so that when you are working with clients, you have that geographic competency. So let's start off, and we're going to go off this white sheet. What I've done is I've pulled the 3 biggest sites that are providing some of the data that we're going to go over today. And I have written out what reports are available and what those reports are so that if you guys, we got them in the back, so that you can keep this at your desk, at your office, and have a nice cheat sheet. So when you're going, ah, crap, I remember there's a report that can do this. I just don't know where it is. Hopefully this will be able to help you. So the first place I want to start off is at texasrealestate.com. This is our Texas Realtors page. This is part of your association dues. Being a member of TAR gives you access to this Texas Realtors page. So when you come in right behind Mike Pierzaday's beautiful face, where it says, "Hi, William," you'll have a login. You may have forgotten your password. That's okay. You'll just reset it, send yourself a link, and you will get your password. And then you will go into the For Realtor Members tab, and that will open up these tabs right here, these red tabs right underneath. So you've got legal and ethics. You can find all your forms. Were you guys aware that you can find forms if DocuSign is down? So this is where we store all the forms. This is where DocuSign is actually coming to take the forms. So you want to, at the very least, know to go to this website, because you know what? Technology, the best of it, works 95% of the time. But the 5% it doesn't want to work is when I have an offer due in the next 30 minutes and DocuSign decides that they're going to update on a Monday at noon. You've got government affairs to kind of see what's going down in Austin. Always lots of interesting stuff. You can find education, see your courses, your education, different designations that are offered. I know a lot of our agents have done this GRI, Graduate Realtor Institute. I know for the first and second year agents that by taking this GRI, when you add that up with your legal and your contracts class, that will get you the hours required to renew your license for that first renewal. Little soapbox speech on designations, especially for the new agents, and anybody that disagrees with me is welcome to stay quiet and not mention it. Take a designation because the topic is something you want to learn about. Don't ever take it, at least personally, don't take it just to get the initials. I've been in real estate for 13 years and I don't know what most of the initials mean. But if you notice that you're going to be working with a lot of senior citizens, helping them transfer from single family homes into more assisted living, you may want to take the designation that specifically works with seniors. There are designations out there for all sorts of different types of niches that you may take. Don't take it for the letters, but take it because you want that education. And in the end, it will give you the hours. You've got some different specialties for those of you who do commercial property rents, but we're going to focus today on this research. So these are reports that are already prepared and ready to rock and roll that you don't have to do anything for. So right here is the Texas relocation report. So you just click on the report you want and you'll hit download the 2021 report. And it will tell you a little bit about the report. I've got the description written on there. So the Texas Relocation Report is based on data from the American Community Survey and the American Community Survey 5-year estimates by the U.S. Census Bureau, as well as U-Haul national migration trends. The report analyzes county relocation data for the 43 largest demographic areas in Texas. And so it breaks down and shows us based off of the last year's worth of data. I don't think a lot of us are too surprised. Where are people moving from? California, Florida, Louisiana, Illinois, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Georgia, and Arizona. So if I were listing a home, one of the ways we talk to our listings is, you know, every agent mentions how they're going to market your home locally to buyers. How our team likes to separate ourselves. We actually have a few different ways of outreach. We market towards the buyers here in the DFW area, but we know that as one of the relocation capitals in the country, that we have buyers moving in from out of state every day. Thanks to information like this, we're able to use Command. If you're not aware, in Command and the referrals, if you go to the maps, I'll show you guys here in a second, you can go to the map on Command and you can see where incoming referrals coming to here to Richardson, into Dallas, into Plano. Would it not make sense that we maybe made sure that your home was being advertised in those areas? And so it's a way to separate yourself. Texas ranks second in the United States for relocation activity in 2019. Texas welcomed between 537 and 582,000 residents in 2019. For the 7th year in a row, Texas gained more than 500,000 new residents. Texas ranks second for residents moving out of the state. So that just goes into that we are one of the relocation capitals of the world. I know quite a lot of people that have moved to Texas, moved out of Texas, moved back into Texas. I happen to be one of those. The highest number of new Texans relocated from California and Florida. You know, Florida's a little bit surprising, but I think all of us kind of knew Californians are coming here. And Texas was ranked as U-Haul's #2 growth state during this reporting period. This shows you where we're moving to. California, Colorado. I got a lot of friends that have moved up to the Denver area. Oklahoma, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Washington, and Arizona. Kind of goes over some of the destination trends within the state. Houston, San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Plano. And then it breaks it down by county. So we can see here in Collin County, top 5 incoming counties to Collin County were Los Angeles County, Tarrant County, Denton County, and Dallas County, which makes a lot of sense. Top 5 outgoing counties, people were moving to Grayson, Tarrant, Denton, and Dallas. So we can see the immigration to Collin County is coming in from all over the country. The migration here in Collin County tends to be a lot of folks relocating within the DFW Metroplex. So it breaks it down by every county so that you've got that data available to you. You just hit the back button, you can come back to realtors, and you've got the Texas Quarterly Housing Report. So that's what I've printed out for you guys here to kind of give you an idea. It breaks it down by state and local MSA. So if I download the Q2 report, it'll pop it up right here.
I'm sorry. Hello?
Yes.
What was it? You said you clicked back and then you can click on, what was it called again?
Reports. So if I
Just
click
report.
back, you'll come up here. If you don't see that tab underneath the 4 buyers, 4 sellers, or 4 realtor members, click the 4 realtor members once you've logged in, and it will give me this research tab. And under that research tab, I can find I can find all these reports.
And so which one was the one that you handed out to everyone? Sorry.
The Texas Quarterly Housing Report.
Okay, thank you.
As we can see in Texas, median home price is up 19.1% year over year from this quarter last year. That's pretty incredible, close to a 20% price gain in a year. Price distribution, it shows you where a majority of the listing are price-wise. You know, the biggest category is the 200 to 299,000. You know, this reflects the whole state of Texas. I think those of us that live here in the DFW Metroplex might think that price is probably, it's tough to find stuff in that 2 to 299. Active listings, we were down 42.2%. So it's a perfect storm where we've got more buyer demand than we have listings coming on the market. Closed sales, however, were up 24.7%, and average days on market was 32 and days to close 39 for a total of 71 days, 22 days less than this time a year ago. Months of inventory, we are down across the state to a 1.4 month supply of inventory. Who can explain what months inventory means? I saw you kind of raise your hand. Exactly. So based off the stats of what has been selling in the current inventory, this is saying that if no new listings came on the market, that it would take approximately 1.4, so basically 6 weeks, we would be out of new listings here in the state of Texas as a whole. Who knows what qualifies as a seller's market, month supply of inventory? Yeah, it used to be, they say 6 months. I'd say, you know, to me, it feels like anything under 3 months really is a seller's market. 3 to 6 kind of seems like a healthy market these days, and 6+ kind of seems like a buyer's market. And then it breaks it down by different regions of the state. So we'll get to the Dallas one. So Dallas-Fort Worth, the median price is up 22.4%. The median priced home is $349,381. If you're unaware of what the difference between the median and average is, with average, they take all the numbers, add them all up, and divide them by however many there were. With the median, we throw out the lowest and the highest figure. Gives you somewhat a more true representative when you're coming and talking about real estate stats. I find median tends to be a little bit more accurate because you'll always have those outliers. That one house that sold for $45 million when Tom Hicks sold his mansion, and that one house that, you know what, we sold it to my grandma and we gave it to her for $1. So we throw those out, giving us a more true sample of the numbers. Price distribution, which makes, you know, we still see the majority here in DFW are at 27.3% of homes are in that 2 to 299. And next biggest is the $300,000 to $400,000 range.
Hey, Hunter, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Would you be able to share that screen in the
Oh, you guys want to see this?
Zoom? Yes.
Man, it's so demanding. My apologies.
It's not just a pretty face.
There you go.
Yeah, Mike, for whatever reason, your face is the face that displays for all of Zoom. So we getting to see your pretty smile. Active listings down 47.7%. That's pretty incredible. We're almost 50% down from where we were a quarter ago. Closed sales are up 16.2%. Average days on market, 57, 25 less than a year ago, and 1.1 month supply of inventory. So basically, no new listings hit the market here in Dallas. We would be out of homes to sell within 30 days. I think those are important numbers to be able to tell a buyer and a seller in this market. It's, you know, as most of you guys have experienced, it's that how you prepare these buyers for this market is going to really determine how many homes you have to show, how many offers you ultimately have to write. And so the more data I can provide, especially for those analytical, you know, I am not an analytical person. I am bright colors, feelings, emotions. I wanted someone else to teach this class. I just recommended it. I've learned in the education committee, if you recommend a class, guess who's going to get to teach it? You are. It was good for me because I had to learn it. I had to go out and do this research and find this information. But there's all sorts of great reports here within the Texas real estate. You've got the Texas Home Buyers and Sellers Report. That's very similar to the last 3 pages I printed up. What I did was I went and found the NAR profile. Who's aware of that every year the National Association of Realtors creates a buyer and seller profile? Really good information to have, especially when you're sitting down and you're thinking, how do I want to market? Who do I want to market to? Who is my ideal client? Being able to see what it is that consumers want out of their agent, what they felt like we did good, what they feel like we didn't do good. You know, just some of the highlights of the National Association. First-time home buyers made up 31% of all home buyers, a dip from last year's 33%. So if I were a newer, younger agent, I might say, you know what, that's about a third of the market are first-time home buyers. One of the things I might be looking to add into my marketing repertoire this year would be first-time home buyer seminars. One of the cool things here at Keller Williams, if you go on KW Connect and you search first-time home buyer seminar, it's all done for you. They have the PowerPoint, they have the graphics, they have the marketing. You're ready to go, and it literally tells you like how to run the event, how to schedule it, how to market it. So it's all done for you. Typical buyer was 47 years old this year, holding steady from last year. And the median household income from 2019 rose again this year to $96,000. 62% of recent buyers were married couples, 19% were single females, and 9% were single males, and 9% were unmarried couples. 12% of home buyers purchased a multi-generational home. 91% of recent home buyers identified as heterosexual. 18% of recent home buyers were veterans and 2% were active duty. And at 27%, the primary reason for purchasing a home was the desire to own a home of their own. For first-time home buyers, that number jumped to 64%. So if I were doing a first-time home buyer seminar, I might really key on that ownership desire and talk a lot about the benefits to owning a home, knowing that 64% of all first-time home buyers cited that as the #1 reason why they wanted to purchase a home. We're not going to read through this whole thing, but they also break it down and do it for the state of Texas and break that same sort of information, just do it hyper locally. And they compare it to the US. So in Texas, we see it was 52 years with an average income or median income of 95. 31% were first-time home buyers, 92 were single-family homes, 25% of home buyers are active duty or spouses to military. 8 weeks was the median length of time buyers spent searching for a home. 15 years, the expected length of tenure in a home. 16% purchased a home for multi-generational family due to aging parents or children. 24% purchased a new home, and 9 homes, median number of homes viewed during the search process. So you can compare how the average Texas home buyer breaks it down into nice stats. Gives you, it's the 2020, this is the most updated report they have, so it's going to be based off of 2019 figures. They should have the newest one up soon. Breaks it down by ethnicity, breaks it down by the characteristics of those home buyers, by age group, motivation for buying a home, void renovations. Home seller does the same thing for home sellers. So you can see, 19% were first-time home sellers. And breaks it and compares it to the national averages. if there's any other reports here we want to go over. You know, you've got it where it breaks down by small land sales, international home buyers reports, condominium sales report, luxury home sales report. They qualify luxury as listing over $1 million for those reports. The remodel valuation report doesn't look like it's been updated in about 5 years, so I'm not sure how accurate that is. And then you can get a profile on the buyers and sellers, and you can see the profile of your fellow realtors. It's been interesting to watch that profile and see the age of real estate agents. You know, when I started, the average real estate agent was female and 58 years old. That has changed quite a bit in the last 13 years. See if I can get to it. So we can see who our competition is. It doesn't give me a nice cheat sheet.
I think you passed by the demographics a couple of pages back. Right there at the bottom of that.
Demographics. The typical realtor was a 55-year-old. So we've gone down 3 years. White female who attended college and was a homeowner. The typical realtor in Texas was 53 years old and 7% attended college. 64% of all realtors were female, down from 67% last year. In Texas, 62% of members were female. 17% of realtors had a previous career in management, business, or finance. 17% in sales or retail. Only 5% of realtors reported real estate was their first career. I expect we're going to see that number continue to go up. We're seeing more folks start their professional career and their professional development in real estate. 73% of realtors said that the real estate was their only occupation, and that number jumped to 84% among members with 16 or more years of experience. And the majority of realtors, 83%, own their primary residence. 83% of realtors own their primary residence in Texas. So those are just some of the reports that are provided to you through the Texas real estate. So we're going to dive in and take a look at our next one. In showing time. So we all have access to showing time. I think there's two reports I want to focus on. First one of this market stats, and what it is, it actually just links you to Netris trends. So when you're on Netris, you can go straight to this report by going to the Netris trends, or within showing time, you're able to go right here to market stats and run report. So this one's really unique. It allows you to compare 4 custom areas against their price, against their days on market, against their price per square foot, their percentage of original list price, their month supply of inventory, their homes for sale, their new listings, their pending sales, and their closed sales. So all you have to do is come up here, and let's say we want to compare 4 cities here in the Collin County area. I want to compare Plano, McKinney, Allen, and Frisco. And so it creates a nice chart for me to be able to see the median sales price. So right now in our area, the highest median sales price is up in Frisco at $545. Allen is second, or no, McKinney is second at $452, Allen at $450, and Plano at $442. I can see the month supply of inventory. Pretty dramatic to see. You know, just 2 years ago, we had, you know, a nice, pretty balanced market of 3 to 4 months supply across the Metroplex. And we can see all 4 at this time are pretty much at that 1 month supply. I can see number of homes for sale. I can check it out by new listings. You know, there's less homes in Allen, and thus there's less new listings. Days on market, all obviously kind of low. But you can compare up to 4 areas. You can compare MLS areas, geographic regions. You can change the search. So we were just looking at the market as a whole. You can change the property type from single family, townhomes, condo, farm and ranch. You can look at the number of bedrooms, the construction type. So you can look at new construction if you wanted to. You can choose by square footage and you can choose by year built. You can look at the last 3 years, you can look at the last 5 years, you can look at the last 10 years, or the full data set. You can look at it on a monthly, a rolling 3-month, a rolling 6-month, or a rolling 12-month. You can break it by a line, or you can look at it by a bar. So when I'm meeting with those high C, if those of you who have done your DISC personality assessment, you're meeting with those very analytical folks, this is sort of information you want to be able to show up with and show them exactly what's happening in the market, so that it's not just me taking a wild guess at, market feels hot. I can actually show clients exactly what we're seeing in the market, what we're seeing with the trends. Who feels like they're feeling a little bit of a shift right now? A little bit? And I think especially as the shift happens, it's always hyper local. It can be one neighborhood still hot as can be, and the next right across the street, maybe starting to cool off at this point. I was looking with an agent the other day up at listings at the Coit and Hedge Cokes area in Plano. That neighborhood, while we were looking at it, everything was selling for 110% or more. We jump over into more of the central Plano area, and those homes are selling right at or even a little below list price. So if I'm working with a buyer and we're about to present an offer, I need to know that information, because I may be about to offer 115% on a home that ideally probably wasn't going to go for more than 101, 102%. And so real estate is extremely hyper local. So breaking it down like this, you can break it down into areas of Plano. So if you notice, when I type in Plano, it gives me all the sub areas based off the MLS. So if you're not sure what the sub areas are, you can go onto the MLS and look at the property, and it will tell you area and sub area. And that way you'll know. I think some of our more OG realtors probably still remember all the areas that used to be very common vernacular that we would talk about the MLS area. We don't hear that talked about as much. This is a way to literally look within Plano and see one area compared against the other area. The other report I really wanted to focus on was this target marketing analysis. So I asked you guys who could tell me how many homes were being showed between an area. So you click on Run Report on Target Market Analysis. And so let's say I've got that client that they're in Plano. They're thinking, we priced it out. My comps came out to 345. They're kind of wanting to go to 350, maybe a little bit higher. And I want to see, where are the buyers looking at that price point? So I'm going to run 300. Let's go 325 to 375. I want $5,000 increments. And I want to look in Plano. Now I can search by individual zip code. So if I knew my client was in the 75023 and I hit submit, and this right here shows me where the buyers are looking. So I can see that in the last 30 days, the most amount of buyers, 108 showings occurred between that 345, and then it drops off quite dramatically. So with that particular listing where I was on the fence, do I list at 345 or do we push it up to 350? That might be the evidence I need to know to, you know what, we're seeing that a bulk of the buyers are in this 350 and under range. So it might be beneficial to us to price it at 345. If those two numbers were flipped, I might encourage my buyer, you know what, even though the comp show is 345, I think because the bulk of the buyers are at the 350 range, we need to hop up to there. Breaks it down here into a nice table chart. So we can see 11.8% of buyers were in the 325 to 329, 6.4, 22% in that 335 to 340, and then 25% of the buyers were in that 345 to 349, and only 4% were in that 350 range. So that's enough to encourage me that, you know what, we need to stick to the 345 price point to get our buyers. Shows you on a monthly average. And then you can go and look, has that trend? It's even more dramatic when we took it out to the last 90 days. And so this can be the sort of data that I want to present to a seller to allow them to come to the conclusion of where they want to price their house. Because whose job is it to price the home? Yours or the seller's? But what's our job? It's to provide them the best data, the most up-to-date information, show them the facts to let them come to the conclusion of where they want to price the home. As James Tan famously told me once, I've never lost a night of sleep in this business because I've never made a decision for my clients. I present the best available information at the time and allow them to make the decision. Then it is my choice whether I choose to work with that particular seller or not. Yes, ma'am.
This report's also really good if you've got something, you've got a listing as things change.
Mm-hmm.
If you price something and it's not going immediately, you can kind of look and see as and markets are changing so rapidly right now. You can look back on the prior weekend and say, gosh, we didn't get any showings, but what else happened? People are asking us, did they get showings or just, it's Father's Day, so nobody went out that weekend.
Absolutely. So we can look and see, like, just in the last week where those showings were, and still we're looking at that. And so say I had a listing priced at $375 and we were thinking about making a price reduction and they were saying $350. I might use this information to encourage my seller. You know what? I think we ought to probably go to $345 or at least $340. Typically, I'm not a big fan of those $499, $999 prices because we know that buyers search by the whole number. But in this situation, seeing that that is where the bulk of the showings are, it might be worth it for that particular seller to reduce that price down to that price point. It's just adding some more ammunition to the conversations that we're having with our buyers and sellers. You've got an activity on comparable, search for sales associates. Not really sure where the purpose of this would come from, but you can basically see on this report all the listings at our market center and all the showings that have been booked for it. You've got agent activity. You can view a summary of their activity. Your listings report and listing activity report. So if I had listings under my name, I would be able to see. That's where I can see who has shown our listings. I can send the feedback request through there, see when somebody's booked that second showing and access that information. I can see all the showings that I have requested. So if I need to go back and take a look at, oh my gosh, I can't remember which 10 homes I've shown that buyer, I'm able to go in through the showings I have requested and see all of my showings. So those are your main reports there in the showing times. I think, like I said, the two that I would probably see myself using the most are going to be that market stats report to compare multiple MLS areas, as well as the target market analysis to kind of get that data on where the buyers are. It's kind of like you've ever been fishing. You want that fish report. Where are the fish biting? And you're going to go where the fish are biting. If you're a smart fisherman, I would think this is exactly what that's doing. It's showing us all the fish are in this pond. We want to make sure that we price our home so that we're in the right pond. Let's hop over to CCAR and find that pulse report that I'd asked about. So CCAR.net is going to be your homepage for Collin County Association of Realtors. You're going to go and log in. Nice thing about this one is you don't have to remember your username and your password. You can log in with your MLS credentials as long as you know how to access the MLS, and I think everyone should.
You know, you're in trouble.
Hey, it's going to make this business a little bit tough. This drops me into the agent side of CCAR. The pulse report can be found by going to resources, CCAR Pulse. You click on that. Obviously, we want to focus on 2021. And the most recent one is June. And this breaks it down by area. So if I wanted to see Richardson, click on Richardson and I click download. And they create these reports every month. It comes out about halfway through the next month. So I think this report was uploaded on the 18th of July for June. And it presents a nice one-page graphic. When people ask you, how's the market? Who knows the right answer for that? Somebody asked you today, how's the market, Josh? Kind of got to know why you're asking. You know, if I just say, well, this is an incredible market right now. Well, what if they tell me I'm a buyer that has no cash and I'm using an FHA loan? Would I say that's an awesome market for them? Probably wouldn't. Hey, we moved in Plano and built our house in 1970 for $60,000 in the middle of West Plano. Is it a pretty good market for me right now? Yeah, you probably got a little bit of equity in that home. So it's going to depend. As Gary Keller says, if your answer to how is the market is anything other than, tell me why you're asking. As far as Gary is concerned, you should lose your license. I don't think I'm that dramatic, but it helps figure out what is their needs. That's an awesome opportunity. It's like them setting a ball up on a tee for you and you get to take that swing. Because at that point, they're going to, we're just thinking about buying. We're thinking about selling. We're looking at relocating. We got kids out in California. We're thinking about heading out there, but we don't know if now's the right time to sell. Oh my gosh, this could be the perfect opportunity for you to sell. I'm an investor. I'm looking for a sweetheart deal. Might not be the greatest time for you. So you want to know, but this gives me a glance at city by city. So Richardson, for example, we've seen a 23.7% decrease year over year in listings. We're up 1.4% in reported closed sales, and we're up 10.7% in our median sales price. I can see how many listings came on last June, 211. This June, we only had 161. I can see closed sales. So even though we had way less listings come on, we sold more homes. So that'll tell you what kind of perfect storm we're in right now, where the buyer demand didn't decrease at all, but the supply of listings has absolutely decreased. And I think we all have felt that. You can see it year to date or June over June. Year to date, we're a little bit closer. 879 listings this year compared to 979 through this time last year. Average sales price has jumped up 20.4% in Richardson from June of last year. Median sales price up 10.7%. So obviously there were a few big boys that kind of gave that number a little bit of bump. So if they like a more just straight numbers, if they like to see it in a bar graph, we can see last June, last year. And then if they like a nice line graph, we can see all of MLS compared to Richardson when it comes to change in median sales price. So these are all available to you through CCAR. Like I said, they've got them for all the areas that RMLS supports. You'll want to be able to access that to pull up your reports. You can change the view and view it like that as well. And the last thing I wanted to go over was RPR. Who's familiar with RPR? What would you describe RPR as?
It has every ounce of information you can imagine. So when you in a property, you can get all kinds of information. I use it for buyers and sellers. I like how RPR gives you like a market analysis on the property, and it helps me see if I'm in line with where my property should be selling.
It's a national database. I took a webinar on it last week. They said there are 168 million properties in the United States that are found on RPR. It is not just what's currently on the market. It can pull up homes that are not on the market. So it is a way to look at the whole nation. So if I had a buyer that was looking in the Houston area, obviously I don't have access to the MLS down there. However, through RPR, I'm able to search the active listings in Houston so that I can assist a buyer. Now, do you think I should go work with a buyer down in Houston based off of that first slide we talked about geographic competency?
Probably not.
How many agents do you know do that though? There's a big post on Lab Code Agents where an agent was he was actually from Plano, and he was talking about how he got a call from somebody asking if guy was licensed and lived in Utah and wanted to just pay a showing fee, but he was licensed in Texas, but he didn't actually live here, didn't really work here, but he had a license. So he was going to pay this agent in Plano to show a couple homes for him, but then he would end up writing the offer. Based off of that competency that we just read, I'm not sure you should be doing that. I think in that situation, because of what it stated there, I think the proper route is to refer to a client to somebody who specializes in that area. We saw that a lot, like when I was in Portland, we had agents that used to try to go sell out at the beach. Boy, the beach agents did not like the Portland agents coming out that way, because they're like, you guys don't know anything about this area. You shouldn't be working here. And I think sometimes we're doing a disservice. Talks about that competency. Am I allowed to do commercial real estate?
Yeah.
Am I competent enough to do so?
No.
I need to refer that out. Am I allowed to do farm and ranch? Am I competent to do so? I'm not much of a country boy. It ain't gonna work out well for me. And so the right decision, and I want my clients to get the best service. And so I explained to them that let me hook you up with one of our farm and ranch experts. Let me hook you up with one of our rock star commercial agents. Let me hook you up with one of our great coastal area agents that can really help satisfy your needs. So RPR, when you log into Netris, you'll see the RPR logo right here. They also have a really good app. I think the issue with RPR, why it hasn't caught on, it's not necessarily the most user-friendly. You know, I keep seeing agents say, oh man, if only the National Association of Realtors would create a universal MLS that we could all use. And I'm like, they kind of do. They just don't know how to market it, and they don't know how to make it user-friendly. It's clearly made by a bunch of data scientists that don't actually use it on a day-to-day basis. What happens when IT guys make stuff for real estate agents?
Josh team working there now?
It must be. You said it, not me. It's nice having a realtor as the president of a real estate company again, isn't it? Like somebody that sold a home. If you weren't aware, our previous president, Keller Williams, was an IT guy who had never been licensed. And so he rolled some stuff out that as a techie might have been acceptable, but we as realtors, we kind of like a complete product that's ready to rock and roll. So I'm excited of the direction the company is headed at this point. But so you can go in, like I said, you can search, use this. You can take, I know CCAR does a really good job of training on RPR. I think we're looking as an office and trying to bring in somebody to do a workshop on RPR. There's a great 1-hour tutorial on YouTube. You just Google RPR real estate. The first video link that pops up, it's an hour-long webinar. It will walk you through all the features of the program. Today, we're going to focus on that report section and all the different types of reports. So there's a property report, a seller's report, a property flyer, a mini property report, a valuation workbook, a market activity report, a neighborhood report. So if I've got a buyer thinking about purchasing a home in a neighborhood, I can go in and run this neighborhood report, and I've got one pulled up. Gives you a nice cover, shows me where the neighborhood is. You'll edit your profile, so you can add, I obviously need to change out my photo. So that's about 10 years old. A few more wrinkles, a few more pounds. Neighborhood housing stats shows in Park Forest what our median home price is compared to the city of Plano, compared to Collin County, compared to Texas, and compared to the USA. Estimated home value in a 12-month change, gone up 10%. Median list price, 310. Median sales price versus sales volume. Would I also maybe want this information if I was about to go out and list a home in Park Forest? I think this might be good stuff to show up to the door with. Neighborhood report shows me what that median price has done. As you can see, it's starting to go up. It's showing me what the listing volume has done. We really were struggling for listings at January. As I can see, the trend line, we're starting to get up. I live in this neighborhood, so I kind of see it every day. There are more sale signs popping up. Is anybody else seeing that in their neighborhood? Starting to feel like we're getting some inventory. Starting to notice some of the homes that are getting sale signs aren't immediately putting sold signs in them. The overpriced listings, at least in this neighborhood, noticing they're starting to sit there for a minute. We had one that, they shot for the moon and listed the thing at $375, and they eventually had to drop and reduce their price down to $330. Finally, I see they have a just sold sign in their yard. So I got to go look up what that price is. Gives you an idea of the population. We got about 4,000 people. Population density per square mile. Population change since 2010, we're up 6.5%. Median age in our neighborhood is 33. I guess I'm an old man in my neighborhood. Male to female ratio, gonna be a little tougher to get a date. There's 2% more guys than there are girls. Neighborhood report shows you the education levels. So for a buyer, this is information that they typically want to know. Shows compared to Plano, compared to Collin County, compared to Texas. So we're, most of us at least made it through 9th grade. Most made it through, got their graduation diploma, their associate degree, their bachelor's degree, at least a college education, and graduated with a college degree. I can see the population of children by age group. So you got a client with young folks wanting to think, is this the right neighborhood for me? They can see based off of this kind of what age range, the population of adults by age. All right, I'm in the big numbers. Households with children, married with children, single with children, household income. Want to know how your neighborhood votes? All I had to do was look at all the flags in my neighborhood. I had a pretty good idea. Some of them still flying them. For both parties. We're going to play it down the middle in class. Economic stats. Talks about the kind of jobs that people in your neighborhood do. That's pretty interesting information. And so can I go out and find all this stuff individually? Absolutely. But it's a lot nicer. This took me literally 2 minutes to run. So I'll show you how you run it. You come back over to RPR. You want to run that neighborhood report. I'm going to change address. Who's got a good neighborhood they want me to run? Crowley. Crowley Park and Richardson. I can come down, I hit this plus sign, and I can choose what I want: housing stats, people stats, economic stats. I can take out the economic stats. I can do the livability information. I can do about RPR and our data. I can source by public records or listings. So I've got it set up. I can change my cover page over here. I can have all the elements: my name, my phone, my license, my cell, my work, my fax, my email, my broker, my office name, my office address. All I have to do to send it over to them and then I can either display now or I can email it right to them. Gary, what's your email? Is this unsolicited, or will you allow me to solicit this report to you? All right, thank you. I hit run report, and it takes it about 2 minutes. Here in a second, we'll hear a little bing, and a little bell will ring, and that'll let us know that that neighborhood report has been generated. So that took me all of, if I wasn't walking you guys through it, it would have taken me 5 seconds to run that neighborhood report and be able to show up at his door or email him out all that information. So that can be a huge resource for your clients. You can run a property report. You can see a sample of any of the reports. It explains right there at the top. The property report is a comprehensive look at the individual property, including detailed property information, historical listing photos, local market statistics, listing activity, foreclosure activity, neighborhood demographics, and more. So I may, before I was going to go out and list a home, I may come on to RPR and just run a property report on it. I can run a seller's report where it will go pull comparables for me. Like Bonetta says, I still, ding, ding. Our report's ready. We hit download report, and boom, we got Crowley Park ready to go. If you got a dog at the home, they just started going crazy. Yeah. You can turn the little ringer off. We learned the other day how to turn the beeper off on our microwave, and that is a game changer.
My son did that the other day.
I don't know how I did it.
Midnight cook, and I'm like, oh,
Yep.
no, you're not.
Because I'll make something up in the microwave at like 1 a.m. while the girlfriend's asleep, and now she doesn't even know. See, and I'm polite. My mom will tell you the story of the time I took the fryer upstairs to the guest bathroom because I wanted to make French fries at 2 a.m. I did not want to wake up the rest of the house. Came real close to burning it all down, but I was in ninth grade. That wasn't my problem. But so you can come through and run a various reports that I think will be real helpful. The most popular ones are probably this neighborhood report. The school report's really nice to run. Maybe you're doing an open house. And we know based off of our previous reports that we looked at that Texas was what? The #2 destination state for people moving in out of state. So it's going to make a lot of sense that they probably don't have a ton of information about schools. We're able to provide them that information. Who puts a listing book together for their listing? Could be more hands.
For the open house.
So you do it for the open house. So a lot of people put that book together for listings. These would be the kind of reports I would run that neighborhood report and have it in the report.
Does it have restaurants in there too?
I don't think it does.
Maybe not in that report, but it does show restaurants and schools and all that. If there's a rail, that's what I put in, yeah. Came in late. I came in late, so I came with that. Someone's very specific.
Last thing I'm going to show you guys is Remind. Just like RPR, there's a ton of stuff it can do. The most basic function, if you want to know, like, how do I use Remind? I don't want to like take an hour-long class. I just want to, why is that logo? It's another one of these logos on the screen when you log into Netris. Come in and run a search, and you can run an individual search. Let's run my parents' neighbors. So if I were about to go on a listing appointment at 3405 Lance Circle, I may want to pull this up. It can show me who the last listing agent was. It can show me the last time it was priced. Gives me the description off their previous MLS listing. Show me that it was canceled. I can see their square footage. I can see public records. I can see their parcel map. I can check it on the flood map. I can see explore the local area. I can see the street view. I can see that it's currently occupied. I can see what year it's built, what its square footage is. I can see their tax amount from this year. I can see their most recent tax bills. On this right-hand side, I can jump right down to where I want. So I can see the schools. I can see valuations. This is nice before I go on a listing appointment. This will show me based off of First American Titles valuation, Black Knight, Remind, Redfin, Zestimate, and Zestimate Rental. Whether we agree or disagree that the Zestimate is an accurate value. Do you think most of your sellers know it before you go meet with them? Yeah. So do you think you should know it?
Yeah.
Kind of nice to know, do I have an uphill battle or a downhill battle? It's always nice when those estimates like 600 and you confident it's 750. Always sucks when those estimates 600 and you confident it's 450. Kind of know what battle you're going to be fighting. You can see the owners and associated people. Buy score high, contact information. I can tell you I looked up my own address and it had the right information. Had my phone number, had my email, had my girlfriend's phone number, had her email. So if you're looking for maybe a for sale by owner and you can't find their information, this is one way to go about getting that. So that is kind of the reports I wanted to go over today. Those of you who've got some other, does anybody use any other major sites to go run this kind of data that we're missing?
Remind a lot, but some of the mortgage information I've noticed is incorrect.
And I would always take it with a grain of salt. It's basically all these reports and data, they're pulling it off of public records.
Right, it gives you a good baseline.
Yep. But instead of me having to go out and hunt and peck and find little pieces, I want to know where I can go in and find this information quickly. So I think this cheat sheet will hopefully help you guys out when it comes time to get this data. In all honesty, with a client like me, you show up with these reports, I'm just going to pass it over to my girlfriend because I could care less. She will spend the next 6 hours analytically studying every one of these things. You know, we all have those clients that want to just study the numbers. They need graphs, they need charts. I like the circle graph because it's got colors in it. I'm like, ooh, I want that orange slot. But those analytical clients, this is how you get ahead with them. This is how you show a buyer what's happening in the market. Instead of it just being secondhand stories of me telling you, showing you a Facebook post that, oh, somebody wrote 8 offer. I'm able to show you that. Notice, you know, a year ago, we had X amount of supply of inventory. Today, we have X amount. A year ago, homes were selling for 98% of list price. Today, they're selling for 113% of list price. It's not just me just kind of giving you a secondhand story. This is what's happening in the market. The better I prepare those buyers, the less offers I have to write. The better I prepare my seller, the less demanding they are because they understand the market conditions. You know, how and why we're going to price a home. It's going to be based off of this data. So like I said, we weren't going to dive in and really analyze all this data. I really just wanted to kind of have this class to show you guys where to go find that data. You can always go run your own stats on the MLS. But it's nice to be able to go and just, you know what, I want to take a look at Plano at a glance. I can go to CCAR and I know I can get the pulse. I want to compare Plano, Allen, Frisco, and McKinney. I know I can go on to Showing Time or Netris Trends and I can run that report. I want to, you know, I'm about to sit down with a guy that I'm going to pay $1,000 a month to help me with my marketing. I'm going to go onto that Texas home buyer and sellers profile so that we really make sure that we understand who our ideal client is and that we build our marketing towards that client base. So this is data that hopefully will help you guys in your business. So that's kind of all I got today. If you guys got any questions? Helpful? Yay, nay? Rock and roll. Well, thank you guys for coming. Yes, sir.
Hey, Hunter, great job.
Thank you, Mr. Mike.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's coming from all over the place. Information provided by Newstar and updated on 1/28/21. Information is believed to be accurate, but should not be relied upon without verification. Associated people contact is determined from the analysis of multiple sources. Accuracy, lot size, and other information is not guaranteed. I can't exactly tell you. I know a lot of it's just pulling from tax records and publicly available information through the county. But dude, anytime you see if they're doing the webinar on Remind, I know we brought in an instructor for that. If they're doing RPR, highly, I know I need to get to the next one they do because these tools, both of them, I just barely skimmed what they could do. We could do a 6-hour class on both of these. They have a ton. Remind is real close to being a like fully functional CRM. You're able to engage clients through Remind. RPR, like I said, can serve as a national database. We just skim the report side of it, but there's a ton of information that can be deemed from both those websites. And I know with all these other Netris tools, they all do a lot of really good stuff. I just don't know what all of it is. So hopefully in the next year, one of the things we're working on the education committee is bringing in instructors that are specialized in those tools to kind of walk us through how Rate Plug works, how New Home Source Professional works, what Builders Update is. So lots of good tools. Take advantage, learn them. You already pay for them. So take advantage. Awesome. You guys have an awesome Monday. Thank you guys for being on Zoom today. If you'd like a copy of the handout, send an email to hunterweb@kw.com. I'm going to put that in the type. I'll leave it up for just a second. You most certainly may. I think I got them in the back. Thank you.
Big Brother was spying on you, and it gave me an ad for RPR.
Did it really?
Yeah. Like 2 minutes later, I was like, oh.
Because I use things and it's.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Well, that was my goal because I know all that information was out there, but I'm like, where do you get
I
what?
want to remind us too, because I did it with one of the title companies. I'll give you if you want to watch the neighborhood.
You
Give
can print
you
out the.
map and everything else, and we did